Isn't that great efficiency? Have a robot do that. Have a AI do that. Have this do that. Like, that's amazing. We could eliminate half our workforce. I hear clients saying this, and I'm like, whoa, But what remains if you automate everything that can be automated? You are left with the relational stuff.
Yes,
And
I
so
was
we have
actually
to be
just thinking the
really
same
great
thing.
at this.
I was actually just thinking the same thing. I was like, AI can be scary, but it's our opportunity to make it better. And so I was thinking, just as you said that, automate the mundane stuff, and then it makes more time for the relationships.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, my mom's of a generation where they didn't have dishwashers. And when they got dishwashers, it automated a task that then freed parents up to hopefully spend more time with their kids.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Yes.
so in some regards, it is freeing it up. Then we just have to decide, what are we going to do with that discretionary time? Do we just get rid of people? Or do we retain people, but make more time for those relationships? So finally, maybe we can get a little bit more balance between our drive for productivity and an investment in the one thing that we know makes us feel like we're thriving, which is warm, positive relationships with other people.
I love that, the warm, positive relationships. And I think the training needs to happen around this, especially for the generation come through that's grown up with behind a screen.
Yeah.
Because the clicks and likes and comments, in many ways, I would argue, like, yes, there's connection there, but is it really genuine, authentic relationship where you can sit and have a meal together? The things that you're talking about with Italy culture, or Italian culture, coming, to actually sit and spend time having a meal together versus. I mean, you probably go out to restaurants and you look at the tables and you see people.
I know.
Put your bloody phone away.
I tell my kids they have to keep the phones in the car.
Like, it's just because we're going to be present together and we're going to actually have a conversation. But I think there will be some training that's required for face-to-face, interpersonal, long, present communication of genuine care.
So I think, our Gen Z, back to our Gen Zers, they're not getting as much practice in that. But I will tell you one thing that I think they do really well, more than my generation, I'm Gen X, is they, again, like anyways, I feel like my work experience was very much, focused on like the external package that people come in, right? Like putting people in boxes. Yeah. I see, at least from my kids, they're super fluid and they're more like, they appreciate the intersectionality of what makes someone who they are. Yeah. They're not so focused on you're this, you're that, the other. I noticed that they don't even really talk about stuff like that. They just are, you know what I mean? And sometimes I fall in the trap of getting my kids to like label, like, who are the jocks? Who are the, the nerds at school? And they're just kind of like, I don't know. And you know what I mean? They're just more describing people. Yeah. They seem to be a little bit more comfortable that there's a lot of makes what someone is unique, right? Okay, it's not any one thing. I think that's really healthy. That's good, yeah. And I think that's going to help mature back to that conversation of like, can we just hire people that look a certain way? I think they're naturally inclined to sort of be like, well, it's a whole person and they're not just one type. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
I do notice they're just a little bit more open and fluid to how people show up.
Well, that's hopeful as well, that there's a generation coming through that kind of...
Generally speaking, yeah.
I think that authenticity in relationships versus superficial kind of clicks and likes, I still think there's a big opportunity. I think there will be an opportunity there. Cross-generationally, how to interact, how to be really present and not kind of hidden behind a screen, and just like, hey, can I sit with you in that pain that you're talking about? I want to feel that empathetically versus like, oh, great, I understand that that's your thing. Like cool, thumbs up, good.
You just take a day off. Just turn your video camera off.
Can I just give you an emoji right now? Like, no, we're human beings. Like,
actually, now that I think about it, so I do have a client where we are doing that kind of training. And what's interesting is so they brought me in as the DEI and belonging expert. Yep. They also brought in someone who's a positive psychology expert. And they said, we want the two of you to teach us how to have crucial conversations. And so it's partly crucial conversations around differences, but creating a sense of psychological safety. So we're partnering on that. And a lot of the best practices that I would put into play are the same as what my partner from a positive psychology lens is. And it really is about being curious, listening, and then seeking to understand. She has different language for it, but it really is. So we are training that in the corporate environment
cool.
of really how to, do a better job of asking, listening, and then monitoring, like when you are starting to get emotional because of somebody's response, like, "Ugh," like, ah, or, "Ugh," you know what I mean? Like, to recognize that, be self-aware, and then seek to understand, even when maybe it's making you uncomfortable or you disagree. So I do think that there is, again, sort of like, how do we create an environment that minimizes stress, burnout, fosters more those positive, warm relationships, and we can only get there through communication and language. So how do we do that?
Yeah. I just think it'd be great to normalize just making noises like that when you feel uncomfortable. Feels like,
That is diversity too. People who make different noises at work. So
there you go. There you go. So it's just outbursts of disapproval.
Yes, outbursts.
Like what?
Yes. Some people are outburst
I'm
people.
sorry.
Other people hold it in.
I just hated what you said, and I just wanted to give a live emoji for that.